F1 2021. It is about time that I made a video on this. There's been a mod that's been floating around the internet, which I will leave a link to in the description. It's a paid mod, by the way, so you will have to whip out the dosh for this one. But here we are, having our first go at the 2021 F1 car. It said that these cars are going to be 2 to 3 seconds slower than the current iteration, the 2019 cars. So I'm interested to see if I can actually feel that difference and what the handling characteristics of this thing is going to be. As you can visually see, a lot of changes. Bigger wheels, less downforce. The rear wing, it looks absolutely massive when you can see it from a front-on shot. So that's going to be throwing up a lot of drag and should aim to promote overtaking. A lot of ground effects technology has gone into these cars, so I'm really keen to see how this unfolds in real Formula 1. But today I'm going to whet your appetite here with a Assetto Corsa. Let's get out there and listen to this thing for the first time. Bloody hell, a bit of a hairy moment there as we go up Eau Rouge and Raidillon for the first time and dip it into the grass. You may notice that the car doesn't overly sound too different to what you're used to in current Formula 1, and that is because the power unit is going to remain largely unchanged, or pretty much unchanged. I don't know what I'm playing at there. So yeah, it's pretty much going to sound as it is right now, which is good to see. We do like to see somewhat stable regulations to bring the field closer, but there's a lot of other things behind the scenes that are going to make this sport a lot closer in the future, which I am really looking forward to. But getting back to this car and this practice session, you can see we're going to run side by side up Eau Rouge for the first time, and we absolutely get through there cleanly. I was expecting an aeroplane crash there, running side by side with a Red Bull through here. I'm still not used to the handling capabilities of this car, but we are able to navigate Eau Rouge side by side with another Red Bull. Could be Max Verstappen, you never know. But yeah, I was absolutely fearing the worst heading up the hill. And yeah, that was a very interesting inauguration into these cars. One thing I will say is that the car feels quite understeery at low speed, interestingly enough. So when you've got like a lot of lock-on, say turn 1 at Spa, you're going plus 90 degrees worth of steering lock, the car just kind of feels a little bit disconnected, like there's a lack of grip. Whereas high speed, it feels like you can really chuck it into some corners flat out, like no-name corner, and then going through, I think it's Pouhon. You can absolutely throw the car in nearly flat out through Pouhon. So by that regard, maybe it feels like there's too much downforce on the car, but I will give the mod creators some break. This is only version 0.1, so you do have to take this with a pinch of salt. It will hopefully get updated over time. It's 6 red lights. And go time now for the Belgian Grand Prix. We're going to do a race around here and see if the regulations set down by the FIA have worked. And yeah, we'll hopefully make our way through the field if we can. This lobby is sported by an entire field of Red Bulls. We are the sole AlphaTauri in this race. So let's hopefully do the Italian team proud as we run up here just understeer City. For some reason, you can see a Red Bull rejoined very dangerously. Probably be getting a race ban for that. And we find ourselves in P9, already halving our grid position. Now, I know that there's going to be some people in the comments who are like, oh, I want to hear the car. I don't want to hear you talking. I'll leave a timestamp to the end for you 40-year-olds and over who want to see just the car. But in the meantime, we're going to have some fun delving into what it is actually like to race one of these things. I always love that. You know it's a viral video when you hear like a whole bunch of people complaining about T-cam, like the camera angle that you're running, and two, why is this guy talking so much? You've clicked onto a YouTube video of a YouTuber. What do you expect? But anyway, moving the brake bias towards the rear. I was locking up the front tires a little bit in practice, so that'll help with rotation and also just not locking up in general and give us a bit more confidence under brakes. Speaking of which, big boy dive bomb into the bus stop chicane, and there we go. We are through now for P7. Next up is, I have no bloody idea because they aren't licensed drivers, just a whole bunch of Red Bulls. So we're really and truly punching above our weight. Who knows, maybe the AlphaTauri will be faster than the Red Bull in 2021. We could have another case of 2008 on our hands, but that would be very surprising to see. Catching up now at the end of lap 2, you can see these two guys going side by side. A Red Bull on the inside mounts the sausage curb, the other Red Bull mounts the other sausage curb, and it's side by side as you were. There are some particular corners where the AI are very weak. Turn 1 is one of them, and we make full use of that, going through the middle of those two guys. You know, going up the inside, around the outside is just a bit too boring. We've seen it too many times, so I've just invented a new overtaking move there, but it didn't really work out, did it? Anyway, we're in a double slipstream here on the two Red Bulls. We're going to see if we can make this 3 wide and go up the inside of all of these guys. Nearly reminiscent to Schumacher and Hakkinen, although not quite. But we get the move done very scrappily as we overshoot the chicane. We fend off the Red Bull that was trying to fight us around the outside there, and we hold on now for P5. Running through Blanchimont now for the 3rd time of 5 laps. We're in the slipstream of the Red Bull. Nice little dive bomb there, and we are through now for P4. So it seems like we're quite strong under brakes, which is something I'm making use of, but there are some areas like here where I keep overshooting the marks, and you can see I get absolutely punished for it, blown up by the Red Bull, and that is effectively my race over. So there were some sections of the track where I was really, really fast, and others where I was just absolutely terrible. We, show off our... just got too close to the Red Bull. We were so fast to poo on, but then at other high-speed corners, we were relatively slow. So I feel like, I don't know if it's... I don't want to blame the car, but it's probably me, but I was very inconsistent in some areas, like really strong under brakes in some sections of the track, but then heading into Les Combes was very wayward a lot. There was more than a few times where I skipped through the chicanes a couple of times, but now we're in a Ferrari, and we're going to see if we can make our mark here on the Dutch Grand Prix from the back of the grid. Unfortunately, only 18 pit stalls, or 9 pit stalls, whatever. So we have a reduced grid in this one, but we're going to see if we can fight our way towards the front nonetheless at this very, very technical circuit. Not much room to work with, and I'm going to let you guys enjoy the game sounds for just a little bit. Right, I'm going to have to cut off this listening session a little bit early. I will go back to the game sounds a little bit later, but there is something that happens right about now which needs some clarification. You can see quite a few Alfa Romeos going absolutely flipping sideways in the middle sector of the Zandvoort circuit. And this right here is exactly why there had to be some modifications made to the circuit in time for the 2020 Dutch Grand Prix. I mean, this game is 100% realistic, and this is, you know, the dangers of this circuit. So come next year, this will hopefully be fixed up. So, yeah, good on the organisers of F1 who are currently fixing up the circuit, because otherwise we could see a catastrophic first, second lap, or just Grand Prix in general. You see this happening all the time in real life Formula 1, and track, you know, modifications just have to be made in order to stop these things from happening. But we follow on this little adventure here with the Haas that has ended up sideways in a barrier. It's very interesting developments as he halfway enters the Shadow Realm, famously guarded by Super GT. Unfortunately for this driver, he got rejected by the Shadow Realm. His name wasn't Benjamin Daly, so he got sent back into the real world where he is right now, and we are going to continue on now with the actual attempt at the race. I had to show you that outtake because it was just too out there. You never see that in the Formula 1 games, but I don't know, like Project Cars, Assetto Corsa, they just have some weird crashes from time to time, and it's really cool to explore some different physics for once. But anyway, amazing start here on the run into turn 1 of this Dutch Grand Prix. A little bit wayward there on the throttle. These things have a lot of torque, which you need to watch out for. But making a bit of contact with an Alfa Romeo as we head through the first sector of the lap. Very tight through there, around the outside is the barrier which can easily gobble you up, which I thankfully didn't do. But when I jumped into this race, I did so without any practice, and so I wasn't really sure about how much speed I could take into corners, what the AI behavior was going to be like. I knew that they were going to be a little bit inconsistent with how hard they would go into a corner, but I just had to go at this with maximum bravery. I think this was only my second attempt at this race, so pretty lucky in the end there to get this attempt in such a limited time. Anyway, we're heading towards the end of the lap. You can see very conservative under brakes. The AI are very slow in that area, and so I had to adjust my own braking accordingly in order to not run into the back of them and absolutely wipe them out just like we did at Spa. I don't want a repeat of that. I actually want to have a clean race and get through the field, but through the final corner, very sweeping and flowing through there. We open the DRS, even though there's technically no DRS zones on this circuit, but we are permitted to do so anyway. Heading into turn 1, trying to clip the inside. It's the fastest way around. There's a heavy amount of banking which will enable us to have a lot more grip, but a lot of the curbs around this place are very high, and so you want to clip the apex and stay really tight to the corner to get the maximum apex and exit speed, but the curbs that are right next to them are so unforgiving, so punishing, and so there's a fine line between being fast and getting thrown off into a gravel trap somewhere, which this place is plentiful of. But yeah, I'm starting to get a rhythm of this circuit. Well, I'd say that we run wide massively, but over the next lap or so, again, I will let you enjoy the engine sounds. But this is a really, really closely contested race. After the first lap or two, myself and the AI really started to get into a rhythm, and that's what really made this track satisfying. So, we rejoin in this race with that stupid Australian guy with his accent. And we're still holding down P7. 2 laps left to go in this race. It wasn't the greatest lap. Like, I got stronger as this race wore on. Like, I was kind of just holding ground with these guys. But I feel like on this lap, is when we start to make a little bit more progress. You can see we forced the Alfa Romeo to go a little bit compromised on the exit of turn 1. Tried to sweep around the outside there again, around the outside, just clipped his front left tyre. But we're through anyway. Next up, let's see if we can get this guy. I feel a lot more confident on this lap. Like on the last lap, I was missing a few apexes here and there, especially at high speed, which was definitely setting me back a little bit. Again, very bumpy in the first sector. It looks a little bit less pronounced when on this video on my preview screen, but when I was driving, I was like, my goodness, this is shaking a lot. It felt like I was actually go-karting at my local, or my former local track at Kingston Park. It's very bumpy there. And so of course, they did a good job of making it feel quite realistic. I feel like a lot of games or a lot of sims don't really simulate the bumps all too well, but this place certainly brings that out quite well. Through to the penultimate corner. I feel like I can clip that a little bit more. It's very tight on the exit, so it's very easy to run out wide, but we're going to open the DRS again on the start-finish straight. Heading on to the last lap now. Let's see if we can get inside the top 5. I always love this track on the old Toka Race Driver games, and it's taken me a long time to return back to this place. Assetto Corsa, with the help of some mods, has given me the opportunity to do so, and so I'm absolutely loving the opportunity to drive around this place again. I really look forward to driving this in the Formula 1 game. I can't wait. Hopefully another 5-6 months until the next game comes out and we'll have this track on it. But you can see I'm just hitting apexes a whole lot more. We're flowing the car a lot better. Steering inputs are a lot more smooth, a lot more deliberate. Missed the apex there, which wasn't great, but we're edging closer now to this Haas up ahead. Let's hopefully force him to go defensive. The AI take a tighter line through here. We go deeper and take a more flowing run on the exit. It's going to give us the inside for the next right-hander, which is kind of a hairpin corner. We know that we're better than the AI under brakes. I could have even maybe got the Alfa Romeo, but I just wanted to secure the bag here with only a couple of corners to go. No point throwing away another result just like we did in Spa. I actually want to put together a nice clean race. Pretty flowing through there, the final couple of corners. Another lap and we certainly would have got on the top 4. Another couple more laps and I would have loved to have chased down the podium runners as we absolutely destroy the Alfa Romeo on the exit. And that is a quick little taster of the F1 2021 cars. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more racing game content. I had so much fun trying out these 2021 cars. If there's any other videos you want to see me do on this, feel free to let me know, and I'll endeavor to do so. This definitely won't be the last time we try out the 2021 cars. There are probably a lot more things that I could do with these things, and so I will do that in the not too distant future. Yeah, it's been an eye-opening experience, and one of which I look forward to returning to. Assetto Corsa, it's a brilliant game, sim. Engine sounds lovely. It's I don't know, it's a very visceral experience. Like there's just so much going on with this game. It makes you feel a lot more immersed in this than other sims that I have tried. But anyway, with that said, no damage is on, by the way. You probably would have gauged that already. But yeah, until the next video, I'll thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you for a brand new video very soon.